I remember the first time I wrote a line of code that actually did something. It was in my freshman year of college, a basic Python script that printed my name 100 times in a loop. It was dumb, but I stared at that terminal window like it had just whispered the secrets of the universe to me. Something about it, the control, the instant feedback, the logic, just clicked. And in that moment, I thought, this is it, I'm going to be a software engineer. The idea was intoxicating. Build apps, change lives, get paid ridiculously well. You didn't need to be good at talking, you just had to be good at thinking. And I was good at thinking, I was good at puzzles. I liked breaking things just to fix them. My professors noticed. Hackathons became my playground. I stayed up until 4 a.m. in dimly lit computer labs for fun, not because I had to. You're going to do great things, they said. Recruiters started showing up in my inbox my junior year. By the time I graduated, I had 2 offers, both with signing bonuses bigger than what my parents made in a month. I chose the one with kombucha on tap and an office that smelled like eucalyptus and freshly unpacked MacBooks. The team was young, enthusiastic, full of ex-Google and ex-Facebook engineers who actually wanted to mentor people. The company was building some AI-adjacent tool for optimizing supply chains. Honestly, I didn't completely understand it, but it sounded important. The CEO talked about impact every other sentence. The CTO said, "We're not just hiring developers, we're hiring owners." And I bought it. Fully. For the first few months, everything felt like a dream. I was writing real code, solving real problems, shipping features people were actually using. My stand-ups had energy, my PRs got reviewed with thoughtful comments and the occasional fire emoji. We had focus time every morning and no meeting Wednesdays. I even liked sprint planning. I'd go to bed thinking about system design and wake up excited to implement it. I was finally doing the thing, and I was proud. But somewhere along the way, the joy started to dull. It didn't happen overnight. It crept in like technical debt, accumulating slowly, invisibly, until the system just didn't feel right anymore. It started with the Jira tickets. They used to be open-ended. Figure out the best way to model this. Then they became rigid checklists. Follow this exact spec. My mentor got promoted and was suddenly too busy for one. 1S. Focus time was swallowed by urgent syncs. Code reviews became transactional, sprint goals became more aggressive, and everything started feeling like a deadline with no real purpose. I still tried to push back. "Hey, I think the way we're architecting this module will cause issues down the line." The PM barely looked up. "Noted," he said. "But can you just get it in before Friday?" A month later, we rewrote the whole thing. That's when I started to feel like a chatbot. Tickets in, code out. Thinking too much actually slowed things down. There was no room for nuance, only speed. Ship fast, patch later. Every product decision felt like a short-term optimization for a long-term disaster. And the worst part, we knew it. But no one wanted to be the one who slowed down the roadmap. Every quarter, new OKRs rolled in like waves you couldn't stop. Everything had to scale. Everything had to deliver. I was tired, but I kept going because I'd worked so hard to get here. And that meant something, or at least it used to. It was around then I started grinding leet code again, not because I liked it, but because I felt trapped. I thought maybe I could escape to something better. So, every night, after 8 hours of building half-baked features for people who didn't care, I would spend 2 more hours solving binary tree problems under artificial time pressure. Solve 2 sum in under 30 seconds or die, basically. Every weekend I'd wake up and do mock interviews like it was a sport. I downloaded apps that tracked my streaks and watched YouTube breakdowns of how to reverse a linked list 12 different ways. At first it felt like progress, like I was taking back control, but soon it just became another flavor of burnout. I wasn't learning anymore. I was cramming, treating my career like an SAT test that never ends, solving the same 10 problems in 100 permutations just to maybe impress someone enough to give me a different desk and a new Slack workspace. And all around me the field was changing. Suddenly everyone wanted to be a software engineer, boot camps, TikTok influencers, Reddit posts like, "I learned to code in 6 months and now I make 200K at Meta." You couldn't scroll through LinkedIn without someone announcing they were learning to code. And honestly, I get it. The pay is great. The perks are unreal. If you just want a stable, high-income career, this is the move. But it changed something in the air. Now interviews aren't just technical, they're defensive. You're not proving you're smart. You're trying not to get filtered out. Algorithms, system design, behavioral, culture fit, pair programming, take-homes, it never ends. There are 100 people gunning for every decent job, and most of them are prepared to outgrind you. And quietly, under all that noise, the thing I loved about coding, building, thinking, connecting, got pushed further into the background. Then came the Thursday, demo day. Our team had just finished building a back-end service that auto-flagged anomalies in inventory reports. It was good work. Clean code, scalable, clever caching, smart fallback logic. We demoed it. No one even looked up. Cool, the PM muttered. Next sprint we're integrating with vendor API. It's undocumented, but should be fine. I walked back to my desk, sat down, and stared at my screen. VS Code was still open, the code still there, but it all looked meaningless. A blur of functions and decorators and unit tests that no one really cared about. Not deeply, not really. That was the moment. The punch-in-the-gut moment. I didn't care anymore. I didn't care about the feature. I didn't care about the product. I didn't even care that no one else cared. The feeling wasn't anger. It was absence, like someone had taken the passion out of me with surgical precision. I went home that day, laid on my living room floor, and stared at the ceiling for 2 hours. Didn't cry, didn't move, just lay there, thinking about all the late nights, the all-nighters in college, the pressure, the prep, the grind. And for what? I wasn't changing the world. I was a mid-level software engineer helping a startup hit its revenue goals. And the worst part was, I had no idea who I even was outside of that. Burnout isn't always loud. Sometimes it's a quiet withdrawal from yourself. I kept logging in. I still pushed code, still showed up to meetings. But I was drifting, like I was playing the role of software engineer, while the actual me was somewhere far away, waiting to feel anything again. I started interviewing, not with excitement, but desperation. But every new company sounded the same. We care about quality. We work hard and play hard. We're a rocket ship. Every take-home project asked me to build a calendar app or simulate a game of blackjack. I couldn't tell one job from the next, and it made me question everything. Had I ever really loved this field, or did I just like being good at something that paid well? Was I ever passionate, or was I just addicted to validation? I stopped coding on weekends. I deleted Slack from my phone. I asked my manager to take me off the on-call rotation. I took a long weekend and didn't look at a screen for 4 days. That break saved me. I started reading fiction again. I went on long walks with no earbuds. I started journaling, writing down the few moments in my career when I'd felt alive. When I traced those back, none of them had anything to do with money or perks or scale. They were about people. Helping a junior dev debug a tricky issue, building a tiny internal tool that saved a teammate hours of grunt work, talking through gnarly design problems and finding elegant solutions together. That was the good stuff. And that's when I realized I didn't hate coding. I hated the machine that had grown around it. I hated fake agile. I hated founders who treated engineers like interchangeable parts. I hated sprints that never left time for deep thinking. I hated how the industry prized shipping fast more than building well. But the work itself, it was still sacred. I didn't leave tech, but I made changes. I left the startup world, took a job at a company no one brags about on Twitter. The tech is boring, but the people are kind. The deadlines are real, but realistic. There's time to think. Space to mentor. I write more documentation than code some weeks, and weirdly I'm proud of that. I started blogging again, not SEO chasing content, real stories, honest ones. I give talks. I help folks coming into the industry not just with interview prep, but with the emotional side no one tells you about, and I code on weekends again. Not to impress anyone, just for me. A budgeting app for my partner, a dumb game for my nephew, a journaling tool I'll probably never ship, but they remind me why I started. I still see the burnout culture out there, still see people grinding leet code like their lives depend on it, still see founders overpromising and engineers running on fumes. But now, I know how to protect my joy. I say no more. I draw lines. I don't equate prestige with purpose anymore. Sometimes the old fatigue creeps in, but I'm not scared of it anymore. Because I've learned it's not about me. I'm a software engineer. And yeah, sometimes it really sucks. But some days it still feels like magic.